Right. You spent the last week celebrating your victory in Apple Lane. You've repaired all of your armour and you've sold off all of the gubbins. There's been two small incidents that's happened because you have to rest up and train and you've been learning spells and what have you. 2 days after the attack on Gringles pawnshop, you're basically wandering backwards and forwards in the mid morning, and you notice coming down the road there's a full on lunar patrol, which is eight lunar soldiers, the full armor peltists, plus a commander on a horse. There's also a chariot with them, and in the chariot is driven what looks like a pudgy, your typical fat Roman with the robes on and the pudgy fingers covered in gold rings.
Don't make eye contact.
What happens is that they pull up outside of Gringles pawnshop. The fat Roman gets down out of the chariot, and one of the soldiers goes forward, brays on the door of Gringles pawnshop, shouts "Open up" in a heavily accented, and after braying a while on the door, Quackton opens the door, looks rather disturbed by this, and the soldier says, "We're here to see Gringle by the power of the Red Emperor." So there's a bit of a commotion. Obviously, Quackjohn runs inside. The soldiers are then milling about, and the Quackjohn comes back a short time and says, "Gringle, I'll see you now." And the fat lunar official goes inside with an escort of 2 of his men. So that's what happens. The door closes. You're getting to know some of the NPCs from around the village. So you know the sheriff, you know Bolster Brewer who runs the tin inn. You even know Little Shuffle, the old half-blind trollkin.
I should know a few people at the Illyria Temple.
Yes, yeah. You go to visit the Illyria Temple quite a lot.
I'm doing my reverence.
The Illyria is the goddess of love, so everybody goes there for a good hard prayer as often as they can. So these troops are just basically milling around outside of Gringles pawnshop, and then like old Shuffle, the little trollkin, comes around the corner, blind as a bat, walks straight into the back of the legs of one of these lunar soldiers, and literally the whole place goes quiet. He just stands there and he starts shaking. This lunar soldier turns around to face him, towering over him in his gleaming bronze plate.
All right there, Shuffle lad, how you doing?
And he just sort of like, he looks furtively to you. This one of the other lunars turns and says something to the lunar he's bumped into, obviously like venomous, quite angry. You don't understand what he's saying, but
I might.
But you might. Do you speak Lunar?
I understand the language of the enemy.
Same here.
I understand the language of hatred. So what happens then is the guy you bumped into, he says something back and then reaches into his pack and he pulls out some food, gives it to the trollkin, and then sort of shoos him away. The trollkin takes the food, all wide-eyed, and then just sort of runs off into the trees down by the storehouse. So that is quite unusual.
That's very unusual.
As you can, they're just basically milling about. They're obviously at ease, and everybody is industriously finding something else to do. Do you know what I mean?
I'm industriously leaning on the side of a building, watching them, in case they need help with anything, bleeding, falling over.
You know when we were inside Gringle's pawn shop, where Gringle had his office?
Yes.
Was there any windows or anything in his office?
Only on the second floor.
Only on the second floor.
Yeah. So basically, they hang around for an hour. They'll just look like troops who demobilised. They're kind of sitting down. They're leaning on.
Can I make a new Pelorian roll to see if I understood what that guy said to his mate?
You certainly can, yes.
No. I didn't blow it bad.
You didn't blow it bad, no. So basically, they sit around for an hour. You're quite welcome to just sit about and watch them from outside the tin inn.
Yeah, I'm leaning my strung bow up against the thing and cleaning my arrows.
And then basically, after about an hour or so, the fat lunar comes out. Looks really smug. You catch a glimpse of Gringles through the door. He looks absolutely furious. And then he piles back in his chariot and sits there eating his peeled grapes. The troops all form up and then off they march again back to the main road.
I'll lean over to the group and go, he's pissed. He's going to pay more.
So that's one thing that happens to you in this week. Obviously, everybody's asking, going, did you see what happened to the Lunars? That they just turn up, they went into Gringles' place and then they vanish again. Nobody knows what's happening.
I will, while people are conjecturing to what it could be, I'll start walking towards Gringles' pawnshop.
Yeah, I was just going to say, let's go have a word with them.
Right, okay. You go up to the pawn shop, you knock on the door. Quack John says, who is it now?
It's me, you little fecker.
Cronin. Come on in. So he opens the door, he slides the big bolts, ka-chunk, ka-chunk. The door opens, and he ushers you inside.
Anyone else coming, or is it just
me? I'm coming as well.
I will,
Right, I'll walk in and go and look around. Anything untoward?
No, there appears to be nothing out of place. It's just as normal. Quack John says, Gringle, he's in a terrible fury. He'll not see you right now. He says, that filthy lunar, he's come down and he's only gone and made him the Imperial tax collector for this area. Do you know?
He's fucked.
Do you know how angry people are going to be with him?
He's going to get fucking murdered.
He says...
Not that I would do anything like that, of course.
He says, the fat pointy-nosed bastard. He says, he said if he didn't do it, it would burn the whole of Apple Lane to the ground. He says, but he's not allowed to tell anybody, so you'll have to keep it to yourselves.
So you mean you want us to make sure all the locals know he's doing it for them and not just for himself?
No, don't tell them. There's things happening in the background. We've got to all keep our heads down and keep quiet about it. He says, but yeah. So when you're here, I mean, the locals are going to go crazy. Just keep it stum.
Aye.
So that's it. Basically for that small scene.
So is he actively going to have to go out and collect taxes?
He's going to have to set up some kind of system where he collects taxes, and then obviously the Lunars will send down a tax wagon, which will be stuffed with all of the goodies to be transported up to the Lunar Empire.
I'll look at Bracey when he says this. Now look at Quack John and go, so this tax wagon. Yeah. Any idea when they'll be sending that?
Not yet. It's just been handed the Imperial announcement. It's all the paperwork's got to be done. You've no idea. You deal with the Lunars. The Lunar Empire runs on paperwork. They say the army runs on its stomach, but it doesn't. It runs on bloody paperwork up there.
And where can we get 6 green hoods?
You all look good in green, boys.
Robs from the rich,
keeps for himself.
He says, well, I'm sure the old nanas will be able to knit you some.
It's an in-joke, mate. You're right.
All right. So after that, yeah, he ushers you out. You continue with your training.
I'll turn around and say, I'll tell the old fucker if he needs any help, we'll help him. But I'm not collecting fucking taxes for the lunar bastards.
Aye, I will. I'll tell him. He says there'll be an announcement in the next couple of weeks that the place is going to go up. I swear to God. So
it's not here. He's got to fucking worry about. The local tribes are going to fucking go mental.
They certainly are. Right, that very same night, you were all asleep at the Tin Inn, and Ryan, you feel somebody poking you in the shoulder.
I'll look over.
Poking you awake. Right, immediately that you start moving, there's a small baboon goes, ransom! He appears to have climbed up and shimmied in through your window. And he's cowered in the corner with his head down and his hands over him. He's got ransom!
I'll walk on over. Not like I don't want to like look aggressive or whatever with him shouting ransom. Why are you here?
He says, me family, it's all dead. You kill them all. He says, me hiding in the trees, and me have no family left. No one to look after me, nobody to care for me. He says, and then grandfather baboon, he come tell me. He said, go serve the death man. The death man, he find you a new family.
I don't know me being able to find you a new family, but
well, basically,
personally,
if you have no ransom, you can be and effectively you can make yourself a voluntary slave to pay off a ransom. So basically, you'd be kind of like a servant or a slave. That's the kind of thing that he's trying to do it.
Is that a thing where I could find someone else that he could be the slave to pay off their ransom instead?
Possibly, yes.
But he's fucking God's told him it's going to be you.
Well,
yes. But what you don't know that much about baboons, but you know baboons are all about ancestor worship and family and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So basically, he's saying, "I serve you good." He said, "Grandfather baboon needs you. You got nobody left."
I might be able to find work for you here to pay off your debt.
Right, he smiles, showing you his little fangs. He says, thank you so much. Right.
What time is it?
This is like in the middle of the night.
You're kidding me.
Right.
Oh my God.
So this is what you see. If you have a read of his bio.
He's called Bourbon.
He is called Bourbon, like the biscuit.
Ryan, it was meant to be.
I don't want him though.
It won't last very long because, like, I'm gonna be like, "Whoa,
Ashtrays.
do you know who I am? Do you know who I've killed?"
Well, have you read the bio though, Tony?
Yes, I have. Yeah.
I'll have to say,
Amazing.
out of character, if gods tell people to do things, best stay out of the way.
They generally
Unless you're
do
lunatic,
them.
then best get in the way.
I'll find him some way to pay off the ransom. I don't want him walking around with us and doing things though.
Well, baboons aren't hated.
Baboons aren't hated. They're not monsters like orcs.
They're not
and Tongan.
hated, but I imagine he'd get in the way. Is my point.
Hey,
He's very small and could be trained to get into places to steal things.
I was thinking that. Don't tell them.
He is size 6. Is how big he is.
Oh man, we've got a squeezer.
He's brought everything he owns with him, which is a short sword, which is in pretty crappy quality, a sling, a stick, and a small piece of cloth which he has tied up round the stick to keep his stuff in.
Oh God, a hanky. I was going to say I was going to take detect traps, but we don't need it now. Walk down that corridor, open it, rattle that lock. We'll just stand around here.
Right, so in the morning, You go to bed. He sleeps at the foot of the bed. Seems quite happy. When you wake up, he's standing there rather expectantly. He goes, "I am good. I make you breakfast." And he takes his stick down and he unwraps his little hanky. And inside you see there's a frog. There's some roots. There's some apples from the orchard. You're not even sure he's supposed to take them, to be fair. There's some flowers with edible leaves. And he says, see, I look after you.
Yeah. Thank you. You should have that. Just make sure no one sees those apples, though. Because you might get in trouble.
Okay. So then he tucks into his breakfast. He looks very happy. So normally you'd meet the rest of the party down in the tin inn. Do you want to let them know what's happening?
Oh yeah.
That's not a good idea. I'm gonna kill him.
I want to leave him. Alright, you stay here for now. I'll be back very shortly.
Yes.
I'll head down.
So he starts industrially picking fleas out of his fur.
I'll get a pint of breakfast. And a sausage.
A pint of breakfast and a sausage.
I'll share it
Excellent.
with a feckin' dag.
The thing is, Tony, right? If you're going to like surrender to anybody or you want to make a bargain or thing like that, you always go to humanity, because in general they won't lie, and in some cases where they have a specific case, they're not allowed to lie. Like literally, they're unable to lie. You know, like that film Liar Liar. It's like that. It's hilarious.
No, I'm not actually gonna kill him. I'm just, I'll feel like I'll really want to. You know what I mean? Like I'm gonna be putting forward and see him.
You do remember that there was one small baboon that you didn't see, probably got away, and there was also the duck made a run for it as well. He ducked off, if you will.
He might know where the frickin' dak is.
Right, so you go down, you have breakfast.
Right. I'll go. As soon as I go downstairs, I want to go over to Crowden and like sit down next to him.
I'll offer him a bite of me sausage.
I'll refuse. Alright, so last night a baboon entered my room and was shouting ransom. And
You didn't accept it, did you?
I kind of
Alright.
have to. Really. And it was suggested to him that he seek me out specifically.
Who suggested that, like?
He said the great baboon, right? Or something, grandfather baboon. Rather.
Oh, that's another one of their feckin' gods, is it?
I think it
Oh,
might
yeah! Sorry.
Runequest.
We're
So
stuck with a feckin' baboon, then.
that, or I can potentially get him work to pay off his ransom here, maybe.
No, we'll take him. We can find some use for him.
And if times get hard,
Oh god.
Cool.
I don't really trust him, but I don't really trust anyone. So.
He's a baboon. They're thick as fuck. We'll be alright.
There's a what?
He's got a pet baboon,
Oh,
but he's accepted the ransom, so we're kind of stuck with a fucker. It'll be useful.
I mean, could maybe see if he's got any information.
I'm gonna ask the little fecker where that feckin' deck went. Because I figure we'll find that little shite and pluck the cunt.
Do you want to go get him and we'll, you know?
Well, if he snuck in his bed last night, in his bedroom, like, he'll be upstairs, I doubt. And that'll be why little fecker's sniffing at the bottom of the stairs like there's something to eat up there. Take it, feckin' down, just hovering around the bottom of the stairs as if there's something we were eating yesterday here.
Right. So, Ryan let you know that this poor NPC has had to swear his life to him because he has no money to pay for a ransom. And basically, you continue on the rest of your week, training, learning spells, what have you.
Can I ask the little fecker
Yeah.
if he knows where the duck came from and where it might have went?
He says, no, Dad, he hired them. He hired the bandits. I don't know where they got them from. I'm not allowed to talk to the big uns like that because I'm too little.
All right, yourself.
What if I hold this anvil in my hand and ask him to do it?
I think he's suitably terrified of us. We did kill all of his family.
He killed all of his family.
Ashtrays.
He is he's equivalent to a 3-year-old child in baboon years. So he's absolutely terrified. He hangs around Ryan all the time, as often as he possibly can, because basically he's probably going to be the most trustworthy because he accepted his ransom.
Yeah.
So I will now add him to can be in place generals or players. There you go. Right. So he says he does know he can't help you tell you where the duck is.
Oh well. I'm sure I'll find the little fecker eventually.
Right. Okay. Right. Towards the end of the week, the whole village is abuzz. There was a fire in the middle of the night on one of the farmhouses.
I'll look around the group when we hear this, as if to say, did any of you set fire to a farmhouse?
Who did it?
I'll shrug. He's doing it.
And basically, the following night, the sheriff calls everybody to the tin inn.
I smell posse money.
There's people running around the street shouting, "All turn of the tin inn! By order of the sheriff! By order of the sheriff!"
Well, we'll already be there. We literally wander around town, get in trouble, and get drunk.
Yeah. So basically, everybody piles into the tin inn, other than idiot girl who is the poor child who was looked after at the Eulalia Temple. Other than her, everybody else piles in, and poor Shuffle who's off in the trees.
I could nip outside, slash her throat, and say it was a lot of trouble later.
Sort of.
Sorry.
Right, so there's a big ruckus. If you imagine a Western saloon, everybody piled in.
Is Gringle there?
Gringle is not there.
Quack John?
Quack John is there. He's been sent.
I'll push a chair out for Quack John to jump on.
Thank you. He comes and sits next to you.
Has the old man calmed down yet?
Oh, he's furious. He's furious. He can't see a way out of it, though. If he doesn't do it, they'll only get somebody worse.
Hey.
Um,
There is a way out of it, you know.
What's that then? Bring down the bat. He laughs.
I'll look at the Hugh Mackett and say, funny you should say that, but I'm related to this lass who had this fucking cracking idea about that. But that's another story. No. Why don't you pay them with their own money?
Oh, we'll have to talk about that. Right, just then the sheriff bangs his sword on the table. It's Droll sword sharp. He says, "All right, lads, we need to form a posse." He says,
Fucking night on posse money.
"The last week, there's been a band of thieving trollkin. They've been coming in and stealing chickens. They've even had a cow." He says, "But the other night, that house that got set on fire, that was it. That was them trollkin. The farmer, he saw the trollkin as he ran for his life, And then just yesterday night, an isolated farm was robbed while all the family, except poor Granny, was away. And they killed the old woman. They killed her. He says, and they've took everything in the house. They're little twats. He says, so, following a hunch, in the best manner of
Divination.
my cousin Vinny, I took it upon myself to perform a divination. And it
Sorry.
And it turns out that filthy white eye, the dark troll bandit, the dark troll of ill repute he's known, he's come back, and he's the one that's causing the trouble with his trollking, his dirty trollking.
Bandit gang, you say?
Yeah. He says, so we need to clean a posse out. To clean it out. He says they're at a set of caves called the Rainbow Mounds.
Right, you are then. And I'll go back to my drink. And like, I'll basically eye everyone to just act cash at this point.
Yeah.
Sort of like, I'll wave, when they can't say, I'll wave my hand as if to, don't volunteer.
He says, luckily, we have some fine warriors here. The same warriors that slew an entire bandit gang all by themselves last week. Not 1 week ago.
Oh, who's these bastards then? I'll have a look around. Oh, fuck, it's us.
Oh, Jesus. So he points to us and he goes, I need to raise a militia. I need to lock down the village. Will you brave lads take a posse to the Rainbow Mounds and hunt this filthy beast down?
Before Ryan volunteers us.
Alcohol, and then slams it down, looks around. Eh? What is saying?
Well, the kind of thing we could probably do. We should have a chat.
The old talk, what?
The rest of the bar's going, yes, yes. That's him banging their beer mugs on the table.
No, they're all thinking, thank fuck we don't have to do it.
Thank
This
God.
White Eye's got a reputation.
It's not us.
This White Eye's a terrible, terrible fecker though, isn't he?
He is. He's a dastardly man.
Oh, how many people has he killed now? Must be dozens.
Dozens he's killed. He robs, he steals. He fornicates with people's cows.
Don't forget the raping. Aye. We should have a talk, Mr. Sharpsword.
Right. Everybody's going, hurrah, hurrah. So he comes over, then he says, I'm sorry to do that to you lads. It just, obviously, you need to inspire the populace. He says,
look,
but
they don't want to go. We'll do it. What's it worth?
He says, well, that the White Eye is, there's been posters of him. Will pay 10 wheels for the head of White Eye. A wheel is a gold coin, and it's worth quite a lot of money.
50 lunars.
He says, and each Trollkin head will pay you 10 lunars as well. He says, plus, there's a whole bunch of cherished items. If you can find them, the farmers will pay you to get them back.
If you can swing free bed and booze, like free bed and drinks and food at the Tin Inn for the rest of the season, we're done.
He says, I can do that.
Let's talk to me, lads. I'll get back to you.
I will. And
I'll turn
he
round
strides
the
away from the table and he raises his son and he goes, they're gonna do it, lads. They're gonna hunt the evil bastard, the cowshagger, White Eye.
God, his son must have had a fucking hell of a childhood. I'll turn round to Quack John and say, Quack John, you know your gaffer's in a right one.
Aye.
Reckon he'll stick some on top of the reward.
I think that most of them whales has come from Gringle himself, because Gringle's the only one with whales in this town.
Aye, right up.
I says he's probably put them up as a token when the sheriff's coming knocking to say, you know.
So he doesn't have to do it.
Yeah, basically.
Aye, it's a kind of reward. Aye, right. Thanks, John.
No bother,
Well,
lads.
what do you reckon, lads? I figure we're going through a fair bit of cash pissing out to open this in anyway. So free food, free beds, free drink. We get to kill some fucker, take your stuff.
Will there be baboons?
No, but there'll be trolling.
They're pretty close.
You've met Trollkin. You've met Shuffle, the blind Trollkin who sells firewood in the town. He was the one that ran into the Lunar Patrol.
Yeah, they're like
small, grey-skinned,
horrible little bastards.
goblinish sort of creatures, aren't they?
Yeah, but the thing is, trolls are fucking dangerous. Like with a capital fucking.
So these are like a different kind of troll? Like a
Well,
goblin troll?
White Eye's a troll, isn't he?
White Eyes,
Or
a
a
dark troll.
Oh, fuck. Well, they can see in the dark, and
And he apparently has a penchant for raping people's cows.
yeah,
That's what the rumours say, anyway.
I think they've got them and brew mixed up, which is a bit different ends of the spectrum, but we'll get back to that one.
Plenty of oil and burn them out.
Don't know anything about this rainbow mound. I think we should ask about where it is. Anyone knows anything about it? And work our way up there nice and like take our time on this one. There's no rush. Plus, they're coming down and raiding, so we might be able to catch them while one of the raiding parties out, gut them out at home, and then catch the raiding party on the way in.
Aye.
What you reckon, lads?
Sounds like a good plan.
Then we ask around and then, yeah, that sounds like a great plan.
All right. Okay, I'll walk over to the sheriff.
Right, okay.
You get that room, board, drink, and food for her, and we'll do it. But I need to know anyone around here who'll know anything about the Rainbow Mounds, and I need everything you know about how many they've been seeing, and everything you know about this White Eye fucker, and any other friends he's got.
He says, aye, it's done. He says there was maybe a half a dozen Trollkin the farmer seen running away from when they burnt his house out. He says, White Eye, he's like your typical famous bandit.
Sitting his arse and let his mates do it on.
Yeah. Whether he's as good as he says he is, nobody really knows.
Well, I'll tell you in a couple of days. So where's this Rainbow Mound?
He says it's about a day's walk north of here. He says, we can give you a map.
I like maps.
There's two. It's famous because there's two granite formations. One's a giant table. That's called the giant's table because it'd be the size for a giant to eat on. And that's above the entrance to the caves. He says, but next to that, there's a dragon newt icon.
Oh, fuck, I thought you were going to say Dragon New Town or something. I was like, yeah, that's off.
But that's
one rule,
that's
we
off to
don't
one
fuck
side.
with dragons.
He says, I can give you a map of the giant's table, and the Rainbow Mounds is underneath that between the legs.
Right.
He says there's between 4 and 6 probably. White Eye is a scum, like the rumours say. So he's the only one by himself. Even trolls don't like him. Trolls are not an evil race, as in not baboons. They're just people. So you will have seen trolls. You may have even spotted them in your past. There's troll traders come through here, infrequently, but they do stay at the tin inn and what have you. So it's not in Runequest. It's not so much like D&D or like Lord of the Rings, where orcs are evil baddies. A lot of people are just people. They're just different races.
Yeah. Trolls are people too.
Trolls are people too.
Don't say that to a troll.
He says, but as to the caves, nobody's been there. Nobody's been inside it. but I can give you a map. It'll take a day's travel, so you can basically arrange to arrive there anytime you like.
Okay.
Well, Mark. Okay. Can you get the innkeeper to put up 3 or 4 days rations tomorrow? And I want some raw meat. Oh no, it's all right. I'll get some that on the way.
Right, he says. It's a Dale, and he spits in his hand and he holds it out there.
I'll do the same.
And he
I'll
shakes
spit
his
in his hand and hold it out for him. No.
He does to each of you. He spits in his hand and he says, "We're having a cord."
More of a guideline. Tempted to say, how was your boy? I don't know.
Right, so you've got time for just one quick worship at the Eulalia Temple, Earl.
And after our heroism in the fucking inn, we'll have some worship tonight.
Aye. So does anybody else have any other things they want to do, or anything they want to do, or do they need a quick worship at the temple before they go?
Point me to the women.
That would
I'll
be...
take him to worship.
Aye. Earl takes you to worship. You are worshipped long and hard, and you don't remember when you've broken into a sweat so much because of your sheer ferocity of worshipping.
So worshipped out right now.
All worshipped, all the time.
Well, I would take the anvil just in case.
I'm fucking carrying it.
Well, who's carrying the anvils? That is going to be the problem. The baboon can't, so don't even think about going.
Are we going to walk or ride though?
Walk.
You're going to walk because nobody owns any horses.
Ah, right.
I'll go to the Temple of All Gods before we leave and worship, pay me worships to the Pantheon.
Right, okay then. Make a worship you roll.
I need to find everything on this character sheet.
Right.
I didn't blow bad.
You didn't blow bad. You give it a good worship. Found Chad's well happy for you.
Great.
So does anybody need anything to do anything else? Tony is recovering from a good hard worshipping.
Is there anything we need to know about trolls? Are they the old, the classic trolls? They regenerate really good. They only have by fire or
no.
The big nasty people, built like brick shit houses that can see in the dark.
So wait, what's the plan? Where we're going?
We're going up to these rainbow mounds, but we're going to go a funny way. I'm going to track back the the sign from the last patrol that came out. And then we're either going to sit and wait outside till we send another raiding party out and murder the cunts.
I suppose we'll need bloody torches and stuff like that if we're going to caves.
You will,
That's
yes.
a good point.
So.
Yeah, we'll want 2 dozen torches, flint and strikers for everyone.
Some ropes.
Can we get chalk?
Some rope.
Yeah, anything like
chalk.
that, just write it down. They're happy to provide general use items.
Handful of sacks. Can we find a little backpack that'll fit this Bourbon?
Yes.
Is Bourbon's spear actually worthwhile?
No, it's not even a real spear. It's just a stick with a slightly sharper point. He's got a badly corroded short sword. He basically was the baby of the tribe, and was bullied and told basically what to do. He's barely competent, and he was given a stick with a slightly sharp point on. Is what he was given. He wasn't given any armor or anything like that. So he has his stick and his hanky.
I'll turn around and go, if a fight starts, stand right feckin' behind me and shout if anyone tries to stab me in the feckin' back.
Yes,
That's
I
your
will.
job.
Oh, he does have a sling, because a sling is just basically a scrap of leather, and he's got some stones.
Right, I'll take him out the night before and have him sling at some trees so I can see if he's actually any good, or is he gonna wrap the fuck around his head every time?
He isn't bad. He's actually been trained in it.
I was going to add to that and say, don't stand behind me, because I will eat you like a biscuit.
He goes,
You can tell they've got no little kids. No fucking brothers.
yeah, he's actually got 46% in Slinger.
Oh, that fucking can stand next to me.
Get on his shoulder.
Occasionally, I'll cast speed dart on one of these things without telling him. Just for shits and giggles when he smashes a fucking bit of fence down.
Just for a laugh. Right, he seems really happy when he hits something, and he's really seeking your approval. Like I said, he's like the little brother that everybody bait on all the time. So as soon as you show the slightest bit of interest in him, he's like, like dancing about happy.
God, what have I done?
What have you done? I really want Ryan to get the Jace can't lie, because then we can just go completely liar on him.
It'll be pretty funny. No, he'll just not say anything.
The only time I'll pick up another one is if I become a rune lord, rune sword rather. Because most of the gifts just aren't that good.
There's a way to game the shit out of that. But
there is, but you need to have a
you
specific weapon for
game the
it.
shit out of it. Yeah, but you just wait till you get like an iron sword and go, this sword does double damage when it penetrates armor, and I'll take 4 castings of true sword, please. Oh, well, there's your big NPC smash bang next.
Well, yeah.
I'm proud of you for not doing that.
Right.
I think Richie's probably thankful.
So, you trek cross country.
We'll head to where the farm was that they hit last, right? And then we'll go to the Rainbow Mounds.
Right, okay.
From that farm,
yeah.
Right? I just want to slowly track around on the way there to see if I can pick anything up.
Yeah, if you want to give me track rolls, people, if anybody wants to have a look around, because I think there's a few people who have track.
I'm not particularly great at it, so I'll leave it to the experts.
Made it.
Right, you definitely find tracks. There was, it looks like between 6 and 7 of them, but they're all just Trollkin tracks. There's nothing else with them. Is there anything else anybody wants to have a look?
Yeah.
Which way is it? Which way are they headed off?
They're headed straight off towards in the direction of the Rainbow Mount.
So basically, they're not bothered about pretty hiding the tracks.
Yeah, that's what I was wondering about. The dog failed its track.
It's not so much. Trollkin are notoriously not very bright.
Mm-hmm.
There's some kind of relation to trolls, and there's about 5 or 6 different types of trolls. But humans are not sure how it all works out together.
On the map that we've got, is there any outlying farms or settlements, that are marked on, so we can try and work out, which ones they've been to, and if there's any left outlying, that could be the probably next target sort of thing.
No, they hit the outside one, so they didn't pass any on the way in. Do you know what I mean? They hit the furthest one from town.
Yeah. So where's the next furthest one? From us or to town.
Well, you've already passed that to get to the.
Right. Okay.
Right. So you track north. You do occasionally pick up the tracks of the Trollkin that don't meet anything on the way, and you arrive at.
On the way, can I hit a couple of squirrels and shit?
Yes, if you want to, you can.
I want some fresh meat.
Some fresh meat, okay. Fresh meat. Right, so you arrive. There's a big hill. There's this giant granite table. And on top of the hill, there's this. It looks a bit like stone. It looks a bit like metal, and you're not sure what. It's vaguely triangle shaped. And on the top, you see a bunch of dragon newts. There's some of those little ones that you saw in Gringles pawnshop, and 2 of the big ones, and and you swear to God, for all intents and purposes, that the big ones are actually doing the robot. The little ones seem to be like tapping out some kind of rhythm.
Yeah, I'm not watching that shit. No. Turn me back on it.
The
No.
big ones
No.
are literally effectively doing the robot. And yeah, so does anybody want to do anything, or are you just going to observe? Or
I'm not even watching. It's
Right.
against my principles of not fucking having anything to do with them crazy bastards.
Right, this goes on for a few moments, and then. Sorry, go ahead.
Is there anything related to cult law or something like that, or race law? So
Do you need
what they're doing?
Empire of the Worm friends to know anything about them? It's a very hard skill to learn. Only maybe a lang outlaw may know something about them. Right, suddenly, the little ones stop beating, and the big ones freeze, and the roughly triangular shape, the air in between it shimmers, and then all together, as if somebody had like said a word but there's not a sound, they all turn and they run through the triangle, and as they pass through it, it's as if they go translucent and ghostly, and you just see them running in a line, and then they run off the top of the hill, but they're still going in a straight line through the air, and they just run off into the distance, and as the further away they get, the more see-through they get. Earl does not see any of this.
No, I'm not. I don't want to know. I don't want to talk about it. I want nothing to do with that shit.
Right.
It's my principle.
When this happens, the shimmer that's in the center of this giant icon or rune or whatever it is, it goes back to normal, and you can see through it normally.
Oh, it's kind of nice. Weird portal thing, isn't it? Does it look like a cheap-ass Stargate effect?
It looks like quite an expensive-ass Stargate effect, to be honest.
Can I send Tickle to go and investigate?
You certainly can. It seems quite reluctant, but you can.
I'll turn around to Tickle and say, "It's been nice knowing you, you little fecker."
Right. If you people would like to give me a homeland law roll, Owen, please.
Oh, I've got Elder Race Law.
Yeah, we all do, but you need to have it trained in a specific elder race. So that's just the base that you get once you train the skill.
Made it.
Right. Okay. So the one person who doesn't want to be involved at all is the only one that succeeds. Right. Earl, you know that there are things called, they call them Dragon Newt roads, but they can be just a track all the way through there, like this weird tarmacy stuff that nobody knows what they are, and they have seen Dragon Newts running like that along the roads, and they run through people and they don't interact with them, but they've never actually, nobody's seen them get on the road before.
We should maybe not talk about this to anyone.
Or you should maybe tell everybody.
Talk about what?
No, we should not talk about dragons at all.
Talk about what?
Exactly. It all ended very badly last time, and that's not. We've got the fucking Lunars to deal with yet.
Right, Tony. Tickle goes up, gets halfway up the hill, but then you know when a cat is scared and its fur starts sticking up on one end, and it's sort of going.
I'll put my fingers in my ears. I'm looking away.
It looks back and I'm like, go on.
I'll turn around and say, it's gonna fucking explode, you know. It's just gonna go bang.
Right, okay. It slowly goes forward and it looks more and more uncomfortable. And then it doesn't get right at the top and it just turns around and runs back the air and hides behind it. Right, you are going to
yeah,
like
guys,
it.
maybe let's not go that way.
You think?
You're gonna love this.